Watch this. X-ray vision for drawing curling leaves. Flat leaves in paintings can look lifeless. But when you understand how these three continuous lines flow, even when they're hidden behind the curl, everything changes. I'm going to show you exactly how to make this genius little tool, how to use it, and then we'll do a few examples and give you all the hows and whys, and then finally paint 3 curly leaves in soft new growth colours. So grab some paper and a pencil and let's get cracking. So firstly, having a look at a leaf, we have a centre line and 2 sides. And as you can see, all these 3 lines are continuous lines. It doesn't matter if a leaf has got holes in it or tears or anything, it really still is a continuous line. And that's a very important piece of information that you will see is the key to everything. In curling leaves, we're trying to show a bit of the front and a bit of the back, and the interesting way they curl, which will give you movement and interest in the painting. Also helps the composition when you can turn a leaf, guiding the eye through the painting. Okay, let's see how it's done. Let's have a look at our gum leaf. What happens when we curl it like this? You can see that this is still a continuous line. I'm taking a marker to strengthen the front and the back vein so we can see them better. To illustrate the 3 important parts of a curl, I'm first drawing the centre line, which shows us the direction of the bending or curling leaf. Then we have the bend. This is the overlap edge where the leaf folds over. And we have the front edge of the leaf, and we also have the opposite side of the leaf, which is also a continuous line but gets tricky because it's hidden behind part of the leaf. So easy peasy, all we need is some X-ray vision. And, that's okay, we can make it ourselves. Here I have a sheet of plastic sheeting just from a plastic sleeve, and I'm going to draw a leaf. A very simple leaf. And then we know we have our 3 continuous lines, and let's colour them in different colours. So for the centre line, I'll be using red. For the far side, I'll use blue, and I can even strengthen the front edge with some thicker black. This will be great. Even with a thinner marker, I can even put in some veins, because you'd be surprised that if you are drawing or painting veins, there are times when you can forget which way they're meant to go. Now I can quickly just run around the leaf with my scissors, making sure to keep all the lines intact as they're the most important bits. Great, so now we have X-ray vision and we can see exactly what happens to the side of the leaf that we can't see, and we can see exactly how it goes. Now we can play with this leaf as much as we want and struggle no more. So here's our leaf. Now it's going to be easy to see where the lines go. And all we're dealing with is 3 continuous lines with a fold. So let's have a look at the red line. The red line is our center vein, and at the moment it looks something like that. And this is the tip of the leaf, and here is the base. We can do this a couple of ways. You can either say, all right, the black line intersects the center line there, as you can see. and you can mark that there. Or you can just allow your pencil to travel on its own and see where it wants to cross the center line. It may be exactly where you marked it, or it might be a little bit away from it. See what happens. Try both methods and see what you like best. Now it's time for the opposite side, and again I'm marking the spot where I think they cross over. But now again I am practicing with my pencil just to see where it flows naturally. And look, I practice and practice, and then I draw a line that's actually a little bit offset from the mark, but it's a natural flow. I've drawn thousands of leaves and have found that if you give your leaf a tip that resembles the leaf you're trying to draw, and then a base to match, you have a much higher chance of getting the leaf you'd like. So give it a go. Try it with the tip and the base and try it without. So the top side gets flattened out here in these two little spots. And we do need to erase that little line in there because that's our X-ray vision. And then if we have a look at our leaf, we can see that the veins go like this. And now we can give our leaf some shading. The darkest area, of course, will be right beneath the fold. The light's coming from this direction. There could be a little bit of shadow in there if the leaf is a little bit curved over. And when we paint the leaf, I'll show you, I like to leave a little sliver of white in there. It really helps show how the light catches on the side, and it also helps the painting process. Now let's draw a few little leaves that we're then going to paint. I'm starting with a curved line and extending into a stem, and then another one, and we might have one coming up here. So let's go to the first one, and this will be my base and this will be my tip. And now crossing over and crossing over again, but what I'd like you to notice this time is that this is the far side of the leaf and it's smaller than the front side. And this really helps the leaf look right when the back side is smaller. So we'll do it like that. Now for the next one, we can have the base facing down this way, and as you can see, here is the tip of the leaf. And again, we're going to follow this. So we do the front one first, like that. And now the back one is going to be thinner. And I'm even going to finish it there. Oops, look what I did. There we go. There's that one. So these leaves, I'm not looking at any leaves, I'm just using these curved lines and just going for it. So now let's do this one, and again let's give our leaf a tip and a base, and now we're going to do the blade of the leaf that's closest to us. So I'm just going to come around like this, and now let's do the far one and make it a little bit less obvious or a little bit thinner. So I'm now going to transfer this to my watercolor paper and we can paint it. Now we can paint them. I'm using a Rosemary & Co. size 10 Kolinsky sable brush. Any round brush will do, or even any other brush. I'm using a little bit of azo yellow and a tiny touch of quinacridone coral to make it, oh, it's going a little bit red. Doesn't matter, I just want it thin. So like the new growth, I'm going to make it a little bit on the pink side. And the most important thing here is I'm leaving a little tiny sliver of white for the vein and also for the overlapping edge where the light hits it. And I'm going to join that up there. Okay. And now give myself some room in there and get some yellow with a little bit of cobalt blue. And leave a little gap for the midrib or center line. And a little gap right in there just to separate them. Now that they're separated, I can add a little bit of green to this one. And a little bit of the red to this one. And now on this side, what should I do? I might put the red on this side because I've got more red. And leaving that little tiny sliver in there. And that one I'm going to make a little bit darker. I'm going to make a little stem. Now I can wait for this to dry. Okay, these leaves are dry now, so I'm going to use my trusty 1/4-inch dagger because it's my favorite thing to do. So I'm taking a little bit of azo yellow, a little bit creamier this time, with a little bit of the quinacridone coral and a tiny touch of the cobalt blue just to the side so that I can use it sparingly. Because this is a little bit on the green side, I might use the same 3 colours but make it a little bit on the greeny side here. And then using that special method I showed you in another video, which if you'd like to see it, you can check on it. My brush is wet. I have just dabbed out the excess water, and now I can pick up a little bit of this colour just with the tip. Using the whole blade of the dagger brush and with paint only on the very tip of it, I can make a stroke that self-blends beautifully. The second and third leaves have more red in them, so I'm mixing a creamier version of the soft red and applying the shadows in the same way. As I apply the richer red to the third leaf, I'm careful to leave that sliver of white in there. It highlights the leaf, but also makes it easier to drop in more colour if you wish, without bleeding into the other section. Watch as I highlight the vein with this same method. It works like a charm. Remember, the brush needs to be wet and paint only on the very tip. If I add some water to the stem, not much, just a little bit, and then pick up some paint and just add it to the shadowed side, then it should spread a little bit on its own like that. I'm adding a vein to our first leaf and making sure to keep the colour deeper at the fold area, the overlapping edge. I'm strengthening the front edge of the leaf as it usually rolls over a little, and this also helps to highlight the white sliver. As I finish off, I'll speed it up a little. There are so many more things we can do with twisting and curling leaves. I'd love to see yours, and I'd love to hear where you struggle with them. Next week, there'll be more leaves. Let me know if you have any favourites that need painting, and if you'd like to see how to paint leaves in mass in trees, I have a tree series right here. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.